Hey, how's everyone doing? I think we're live. I think it says we're live. How's everyone doing? Hey there, Paul. Coffee, nice, and handling email. All right. Well, sorry, we're starting now, so hopefully you got to some of your emails beforehand. All right. Cool. So I guess we're good to go then. All right. Now, some housekeeping things just to make sure y'all are in the right place. What am I doing? Okay, here we go. Want to share the entire screen? Let's see if this works. Hopefully yours. Oh, here we go. Oh, nice. All right. So yeah. So everyone, that's want to make sure you're in the right place, right time. Build a real-time live stream platform with Vonage APIs, video chat, text chat, screen share, and rewards that scale. Ooh, that's a long title. All right. So yeah. So if you're here for that, awesome. If not, some coding and things. All right. So, okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully. All right, cool. So those are my slides. Now, if you want to like code along and get all interactive with me, feel free to go myworkshops.live. And I'm gonna put a link to it in the chat. My workshops. As you can tell, I cannot type. All right, myworkshops.live. Because this is where you can catch my workshops live. And afterwards, that's where my workshops live because English, live, and live are spelled the same. Great. All right, cool. So now when you go there, you'll see something like this. All right. And so, again, the very long title and Connect 25. We'll make sure we're through. All right, cool. And live now. Take notice of this live now. We're going to talk about that later. But so when you enter, you'll go ahead and put in your username, which is your username. And then the password I am putting into the chat as well. And so there, and go ahead and start joining stuff. And then we can get this rolling. All right, cool, nice. All right, I probably should have did this before the 15-minute thing. It's fine. It's fine. We have more than enough time. Hey, Ada, I see you joined up. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Felix Orari. Hope I said that right. Hey, so, oh, you see the chat thing, very nice. So yeah, you'll be able to chat and thumbs up and all sorts of things. So I can kind of get a feel of where we're at. Hey, Patrick. All right, all right. Very nice. Very nice. All right, cool. So now while folks are getting stuff together and things, all right, let me hey Patrick, the same Patrick that's in the thing? Nice. Oh, it didn't appear? Oh, weird. Okay, yeah. So here it is. Here's the password again. Oh, I forgot to because hold on, let me see something here. Allow. Okay, so hopefully this is working. I'm using like speech recognition that's built into like Chrome browsers, and so if you're logged in, you should see like little speech bubbles appear above my head, and it's like automated. So if it reads weird, and say it. All right, Daniel, did you get the password again? You're about to get started. Okay, well, weird. So you don't see what I just it's right above your weird. Okay, that is weird. Well, okay, so yeah, it's not a secret. It's the company that I work for. The people putting this together, all lowercase. Hopefully that helps. Oh, you're in there. Nice. All right, cool. See that real time. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Cool. So it is working. All right. That's always cool when something you build still works, right? After not touching it for a while. It's amazing. All right. Now, what should also work, screen here, my slides. Now, like I mentioned, build a real-time live stream platform with Vonage APIs, video chat. Oh yeah, there's like a lag with streaming. So there's probably going to be like a few seconds lag. So the slides will probably go through faster, but we'll see. Yeah, so video chat, text chat, screen share, and rewards, that's scale. Now, AKA, I get to talk about web components. I'm a big fan of web components, as you'll see. And mainly my talk here is to get you web components and how we're using it at Vonage. All right, so we're going to go through all that. At the end of this, I want you to see the awesomeness that are web components. All right, cool. Now, do you have a Vonage developer account? Let me know yes or no. All right, I'm getting some yeses. All right. Oh, Paul, I thought you were asking me to hit F5 because I was like, that would probably be bad. Okay, no. All right. So if you don't have one, you can always sign up. I have that link there, which is the same link that is, give me a second here. They showed me how to do this action thing. This one here. Oh, wait. It's already there. What is happening? I didn't put that there. That's fine. All right. So there should be a link on the, I think. But either way, you have that link there. You can sign up there as well. Let me see something. Okay, wait. Okay, shift it. Okay, yeah, there you go. Create your Vonage dev account and get extra credits, like we're in school. All right, awesome. Cool. All right, cool. So go ahead and sign up. You'll have some time to go. So we'll see. Now, let us go ahead and sign up. We'll be talking about all types of stuff, so you'll still have time to be able to sign up. All right, so go ahead and sign up. Cool. Now, do you have a GitHub account? Oh, there is a lag, isn't there? Yeah, well, that makes sense. All right, nice. If not, you can sign up there as well. Cool. All right. The votes are trickling in. All right, nice. Now, who's heard of web components? Nice. Oh, so we must not have spoken before, because like within the first 5 minutes of speaking with me, I will try to mention web components in some sort of way. And so, yeah. So, okay, cool. So the folks who haven't heard of web components, I look forward to hearing what you think about them after this. And for folks who have used web components, I'd be interested in learning what you think about after this and what you've used and use them for. All right. Cool. Don't forget, you can use this time while we're talking about web components to sign up for your there at the bottom of the screen. All right, cool. Now, so the goals of this I'm looking to help with like a general understanding of what web components are. I want to show the value of web components so that you can kind of, what you can get from it in your own projects. We're going to create and integrate one, I'm saying, in a framework of your choice. We'll do that later. And then we're going to build the application that was promised in the beginning, where it's like a personal live stream platform. All right. And then afterwards, I'm hoping you'll have a multitude of resources to be able to kind of go back to and all these things. And you'll be able to go back to these slides. This workshop, as I mentioned before, it'll be the same password, and you'll be able to kind of check it all, relive everything all over again. All right. Cool. Now, you may be wondering, are web components a thing yet? Because it seems like folks have been talking about web components for a minute. And thanks to the internet, there's a website for that. And shouts to Westbrook J on Twitter for putting me on to this. And when I go to this next slide, it's going to answer, are web components a thing yet? And the answer is yes. That's all you need to know. Now, what I'm going to do is, you can type this in the chat, or you can say it out loud, or if you're in a public place, say it in your mind. When I scroll up, I'm going to show some companies that are using web components. And every time you see one that you recognize, either type it in the chat ding, or again, say it out loud, or if you're in a public place and you want to be embarrassed, just say it in your mind. All right? You ready? Here we go. Oh, there's going to be a delay also. That's fine. All right. So who's using web components? Any of these look familiar? How about these? Or you could give thumbs up in the on my workshops.live as well. All right. All right. There's a lot of them. And this is just like a portion of it, because this is from like a while ago. I'm not sure how up to date they keep this. All right. I'm imagining a whole bunch of dings happening. Oh, I'm seeing some thumbs up in the thing here. I have way too many screens happening. All right. Nice. All right. Look at all these. All right. Hey, Vonage. That's new. I don't remember that being there. Oh, I'm kind of proud. I feel kind of good about that. I feel like I had a hand in that. I can't confirm nor deny, but I feel pretty good about that being there. Oh, that is awesome. Okay. And then Wordle. Y'all remember Wordle? Like that thing, didn't they sell for like $1 billion or something? Web components. Amazing. You can get rich quick. Kidding. There's no sort of thing like that. All right. Cool. Exactly. All right. So, if you're buffering, you should be able to, if you're in the workshops, I have it where it's the audio. So that way it hopefully won't take as much resources. So if you want to like just listen and follow along, because you really don't need to see my face to make this work. All right. So that's another option if you want to try. Cool. All right. Now, YouTube is like the second largest search engine or something like that. And if you ever go to a page and you look at the console, the developer console, you'll notice all these like strange elements. YTD-rich-grid-row. That's not something I've ever seen before, right? YTD continuation item renderer. All these random things. If you ever come across something like that in like the HTML of a page, that's a good indication that they're using web components. All right. Now there's other things, these transpilers and stuff, but if it's just like straight HTML, it's probably some sort of web component goodness happening behind the scenes. All right. Now, it was mentioned before, GitHub, and we're going to be using a lot of GitHub later, but they actually have like their own set of web components that they have called time elements. And so if you ever notice how like there's like this, you see this 13 days ago or 2 months ago and all these things like that, like on May 7th, 2021, if you go and look deep into it, you'll see, hey, there's this time hyphen ago element. And again, that's like a thing I've never come across before. Web component. And don't quote me on this, but a lot of times if there's a hyphen, that's a good indicator that it could be a web component. All right. So you can see here, nice. Now, Photoshop on the web was able to be created by web components. So you can see here like this SP button. So Photoshop, Adobe have their own set of web components. And you can kind of tell because they have SP in front of it. And it's kind of amazing. A lot of folks will create like design systems using web components. Like Vonage has a set of design system for using web components, so that a lot of the things you come across on different websites or applications and things, they have like a nice, clear, consistent look to them. There's the company EA, which you saw on that list before. They actually, so EA has like a bunch of other like gaming studios underneath them. And so they're running to an issue of where every like website that the different gaming companies would put out would be like totally different. So a header would be up here or it'd be like at the bottom somewhere on the side. And so they wanted to be able to iterate quickly, but kind of keep the same feel amongst all the different properties that they own. And so they created a set of web components to be a design system. And so there's all sorts of different use cases that you can have for web components because they're awesome. All right. By the way, don't forget, this is your time to go ahead and sign up for your Vonage developer account. So it's like the little nice call to action thing is there. So go ahead and click that. All right. All right. So now, have you ever used any of these elements? So we have the video element here. Go ahead and you can click that. That's kind of cool. Amazing. And I have like different sources you can check out also. And then I don't know if I'm sharing the audio, but well, if you're on the page, you'll be able to hear this as well. And you click. Apparently that's the sound of a T-Rex. How they know, I don't know. And then like one of my favorite elements is the details element. All right. What's amazing is that to create these, you didn't have to do anything except put a video tag and a source to a video, and you get all of this here. You get the video player, you get the play button, the pause button, you get the timer here, you can control the audio, you can make it full screen, you can do all these things like download it. Does that show up? That does show up. You can download, change the playback speed, picture in picture. All you had to do is put a video element and a source, and you get all this. Same thing with the audio, and the same thing with the details tag. And so with that, it's like you get all this goodness by just inside without having to do anything except put the tag on the page, right? And so with that, one of the coolest ones I've ever seen a use case of like using web components is this model hyphen viewer, right? And it is so cool. Like I'm gonna show you the website. You can go to the website here. Copy link address, yes. And so like this is amazing, right? Now, if you think this is cool, if you go to the website, I'm gonna have so many tabs by the end of this. Look at this. You see how quickly that loaded? This is the suit. They scanned the suit from Neil Armstrong that went to the moon. And I like the other one because like it's low poly, but this one, look at this. You can see like the stuff on the bottom of the shoes. It's kind of, and then look at all the different, you can see the reflection in the helmet and it like moves with it. All that with just, you put in a script tag so that the browser knows what what to do when it comes across this element. And again, model hyphen viewer. You put in the alt tag because accessibility is important. You put in the source as if it was just, as if it was just like a video file. And then you can make it an augmented reality, which we're going to talk about. And then environment image. So if you want to have like the background and all this other stuff, super cool stuff, and they have like the poster, so many different things you can do with it with the different attributes, right? So this is awesome. And you even have like the shadows and everything, all that by just this here. It's using like 3JS and WebGL and all these. You don't need to know any of that. You just need to know how to put that there and put it into your application. So back to here. All right. So now I took this. I was like, this is so cool. I wonder if I can kind of create an application on top of that. And so what I did was I created a WebXR tic-tac-toe game with audio chat using a bunch of different Vonage APIs. And so you can go ahead and click that. And so you can see here, I'm on my tablet. And I'm able, so just like with the astronaut, I'm able to kind of move it around like 360. And then I'm using my phone, and it's an Android phone, and it has like AR built in, and it understands that. And so you're able to bring it into the real world. And you can see, like, as I make the moves back and forth, I'm using the Vonage real-time APIs to be able to communicate between the two different game boards. And you can see I can also, on the screen, kind of like rotate it as well. And yeah, so it's kind of amazing, all the different things. So this is actually like web components within web components. And so I made the X and O's in, what was it, Microsoft Paint 3D, and the actual bars and everything as well. And I just they have these hotspots that you can put into it. And so I just kind of like record the different interactions, and you're able to kind of, you can't see in the video, but there's like confetti and all this other stuff. So if you want to go ahead and play, you can check out xoxr.games. All right, so that'd be another game for you, Ida. All right, so by the way, again, I hope you're not voting. You're well, you're gonna be voting a little later, but you're creating your Vonage Dev account and getting extra credits now. So, all right, so now as you can probably tell, I like to make a lot of projects, like a lot of projects. And I wanted to be able to create a way of being able to have like a page or some sort of elements that can kind of show what I use to create these different projects. Because again, I use all sorts of different technologies, just kind of like learn and stuff, right? So having to try and do for each one would be a task and keep up with it. And it'd be pretty terrible. So that's me realizing that. And so I relied on the power of web components and created my web component. So Dwane-made is a reusable web component that I can just put into any project. It actually also should be in this, the myworkshops.live site as well. And so what happens is I have the web component, well, the application, I have an endpoint that has all the different data about what I used, and it's pulled in from the application and then passed into the Dwane-made web component. And then it goes and kind of like scaffolds and puts everything where it needs to be, right? So that's pretty cool. They're reusable web components. Another thing that's great about them, they're very reusable. Now, one of my favorite elements, HTML elements, is the humble input. I'm not sure. Let me know what some of your favorite elements are in the chat, or you could ask a question or something, put it in there. Now, it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of HTML elements, right? Just by changing the type attribute, you get so many different functionality out of it. So you have like a button, you have the date. Imagine having to try and code this thing up. Now, if anybody's ever worked with dates on the internet, you know how difficult it can be. And so just by changing the time to date time local, you get a fully functional calendar, which is kind of amazing, right? Look at this. This is amazing. And you'll be able to kind of change it, check the time. And then you can also clear it, which is cool. And then if you wanted to, you can just enter it in separately, individually. And then if you just want, like if you're here, like, I want to go back to today. All of that by just on the input, making the type date time -local. I don't know. The web is an amazing place. I don't know if anybody else feels like that. And then you have like the radio button, a checkbox, And then the range, this one here is also, seems like it could be kind of challenging as well to be able to do this. And then this one here blows my mind. Imagine having to try and figure out the CSS to get this like color path and all these things, and then linking it up to this to where it will change like that. And then I don't know if you can see it on here, but on some browsers, there's even like a eyedropper tool. Is that showing up here? Yeah, it is showing up there. And so you're able to just look at that. It magnifies on. It's amazing. And then you can click it, and it'll give you the value there. Kind of amazing. And then if you want to like upload files and all the things, and then there's a regular text, right? Amazing. All of that just by changing the type attribute. Now, I thought that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder how I can use it in my own projects. So I created this Dwane timer. Now, you can see here, we're actually, this bottom right one, this is the actual screenshot from the website. Okay, connect WebSocket. Yeah, WebSockets are awesome. I just did a bi-directional audio connector thing, and that's using, it's awesome. I have it connected to a WebSocket server. It's cool stuff. So back to here. So you can see, like, this is the actual site that you're on if you're following along. And you can see here, this Thursday, February 17, 2022, this date time. This is the date timer here. And the date timer, I can set a date in the future, and it will show the accurate time that thing's in the future, the event, in that person's local time zone. So I don't have to do any time zone weird math to try and figure out what this event will be in the future for someone else in a different time zone. So that's why it says like America, New York. So if you ever go to the site, and I maybe have another upcoming one, it will show the time zone and the time and date in your time zone. And so this is another one. This is a thing I do on the weekends. And it has like, just by changing an attribute, that full text, date and time, turns into a countdown timer. And so this here is also the same date timer here. And then you can see here, the date timer, I can have that turn into live now. Like it fires off an event where I can switch it out to wherever I want it to show when the event is ready. Just kind of like how you saw when we showed you the page earlier, it said live now. And then again, you can kind of see how it looks if the thing is in. You can set when you want it to start to show, to switch to be a timer. And so if it's more than like an hour by default, it'll show like the day, time, and date and everything. But then if it's less than, it will start to be a countdown timer, kind of like this here. All right, so multi-use, another great feature of web components. All right, and then you want to see some more examples and collections, you can do that here. All right, so again, my goal is to have you have a whole bunch of tabs open at the end of this that you can go and check out later. All right, so now our web components getting cooler. What are y'all thinking? And then there's a delay. I forgot there's a delay also. So let me know what y'all think. All right. That is kind of a long delay. That's probably like 10, 15 seconds. Interesting. So I'll probably go through these a lot faster than. Nice. Nice. All right, cool. We're gonna keep it moving. All right, very nice. I'm seeing some ones in the chat. Very nice. All right, cool. So now I've shown you who's using web components. What are some user features about web components? Now let's talk about what actually makes a web component. All right. So now it used to be 4. Oh, I'm sorry. What about the, so you're saying it's buffering, but what about the slides page, myworkshops.live? Is that better for you, or because it should use less resources since there's like no video? So you could probably pause this video or something. And then, like I mentioned, there should be audio coming through. And so you can check that out. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah. So like I mentioned, there's a there used to be 4 different like web APIs technologies that made up web components. But then one of them basically became like in the browser. It was like HTML imports, And so we don't even count it because it's there already. It's not something specific just for like web components. And so now these 3 remaining ones, they kind of like work together and combine to be able to get you web components. So we got custom elements, shadow DOM, and HTML templates. All right. So let's go through them. Now, custom elements, like I mentioned before, a good indication of web components will be if there's a hyphen in there. It's called kebab case, right? And the thing is, you cannot have a web component that is a single word. And the reason for that is because everybody would then have like their own A tag or their own image tag. And it would confuse things because you come across a random H1, you put in your H1 expecting one thing, and then somebody hijacked it and became a whole nother thing, right? And so with that, that's why you need a kebab case, all right? They also, it's an object, like a class that defines the behavior, right? And then, but it's also like being able to extend already like previous elements. So you can build on top of like button elements, right? So you can use the button as like the base layer. So you get all the different like goodness that come with like, you know, click and all these other things that come with buttons and these different elements, and build on top of that, as it says, extends. All right. Now the shadow DOM, it provides encapsulation. And shout out to Paul Lewis. He said that you can think of it as a way of, it contains the gross of your code. Because again, like I showed you with the input button or the video tag or the audio tag or any of those things, imagine if you had to go and create that thing, how much code that would enable, like you'd have to have, right? Every time you want a video element, you'd have to do that thing, right? This way, by using the shadow DOM, everything is kind of like encapsulated in your element. It's kind of, I don't know how many Doctor Who fans we have here, but it's like bigger on the inside, like of the TARDIS. And so you can kind of think of the shadow DOM as like the inside of the TARDIS. On the outside, you know, it looks like a regular phone booth. Inside is a whole nother world. So that's kind of like what the shadow DOM does. And what's cool is it doesn't, like I said, provides encapsulation. So the stuff you have inside, it doesn't leak out unless you want it to, right? And then the stuff on the outside, unless you want it to, doesn't really affect the inside of your web component. And what's cool is also that you can remap events. So if there's something with, let's say there's a click event. Let's say, and we're going to take a look at this later. Let's say you created a poll web component where people can vote and things, right? What you can do is when someone clicks submit for their vote, or if they select one of their options, you can then turn that. So instead of just being a click, you can, or a submit, you can make it more meaningful to the outer application to like, or instead of submit, hey, when the outer application sees it, it's vote. Because the application on the outside could have a whole bunch of different submits, right? But by saying like, hey, listen out for this vote event, that makes it a little bit more meaningful and be able to kind of like do what you want to do with that. All right, cool. And if you have any questions, again, feel free on myworkshops.live to ask that there. All right, cool. All right, now HTML templates. Has anybody ever used a template tag? So cool. And once you like, you can use it without web components, but it's kind of like a part of web components. It's the part that if you use template in your HTML, anything between the template tags will not be rendered by your browser. So you could have the whole encyclopedia in between 2 template tags, and the browser just skip over it because it's like, I don't need to worry about it. It's a template. And at some point, some JavaScript will like clone it and then use it when needed. So it'll just, so if you have a lot of information that you need on a page, but you want it to load quickly, you can put it in like a template tag and then call that later. So like it says, it's used to officially render HTML and update it when the user interacts with our web components. And then for complex templates though, because you know, we web developers like to make things super complex. It might be easier to use a framework or a library or like a tool. And we'll take a look at some of those later. All right. So let's take an example. All right. So now this is a raw HTML example and just vanilla JavaScript. Okay. So if we're going to take a look at the HTML. All right. Now you see regular HTML here. And then you kind of scroll down like, okay, cool. Who's the greatest group of all time? Feel free to put your thoughts, your guesses. Who's your favorite group of all time? Let me know, and I'll add it into here. But then you can see here, we have an input, right? Group sub input, this right here. Then we have a button, group sub button, all right? The button right here. And then we have this goat hyphen group, and then there's this guess attribute. That's weird. And then a little thinking face. And then we end off the group. That's interesting. I've never seen goat hyphen group before. So that must mean the hyphen and the thing I haven't recognized. It's a good chance it's a web component. And so let's take a look at the JavaScript, because you can see it rendered this, right? But then how would the browser know what to do with the goat hyphen group? And that's where the custom elements API comes in and some JavaScript. So whenever I code, I like to get a reference of all the different stuff that I'm going to be using. Okay, so that's what this is here, right? But if you notice here, we have this goat group element, and we're doing document query selector with the goat hyphen group. So I want to impress upon you that you can do the same thing as you would with normal elements. You can do with web components, because they are part of the web, right? So they're a browser standard, a web standard. And so now on this group submit button, which we found up here, which we tagged there, I'm listening for an event, a click event. All right. And then what do you do? And then I'm setting. So I'm taking the input from here, right? And I'm setting the attribute, which we saw before, that guess on the HTML element, this guess here, I am setting that to the input of the group submit input button, this here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to listen for the custom event dispatched from the web component, because again, remember, by using the shadow DOM, we can remap events, like rename them. So we can listen for a guest event. That's not a normal event. That's our own custom event that we can create. And then we can alert the detail that's in that event. So what we're doing here, here's that template again. So you can either put the HTML template tag, or you can actually create it using the create elements and create that template. So it's the same thing. And then within that, we're going to have this slot, right? And then we're going to have an H1. And then we're going to have this div with an ID of verdict. Okay? Now that slot, right? Anything you put in between your elements, that is the slot. That's what will show up. And so that's why that shows up there. Now, you can have different things called name slots. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of amazing, all the things you can do. Now, we're going to extend the HTML element. And like it says here, it's the base class that powers other native elements like input, button, and video. So if I wanted to make a video player, then I can do like HTML video element, I think it is, right? Or HTML button, or the input element, right? But since we have all these different things, we're gonna start off at the HTML element, which is kind of like the catch-all, where everything kind of like starts from. All right. And so now we're going to have this function here, which we're going to listen for any changes to that guest attribute. So we're kind of like saying, hey, observe these attributes. And then when it changes, let us know here. All right. So now we're going to do a super. And you get all the different HTML elements, or it could be like the video elements. And so that loads in all the different properties and methods. All right. And so now we're going to clone that template that we had before, the content of it, which is, again, this stuff here. And then we're going to be using the shadow DOM here to attach it. So now so when you say open, should the shadow DOM's internal features be accessible via JavaScript? So if you don't want people poking around in your web component via JavaScript, like maybe like calling methods or changing things, then you can have it closed. And then since we're in the shadow DOM, you want to append the child to the shadow root. All right. So we're not appending anything to a document or an element. We're doing it into the shadow realm, basically. All right. And we're using that clone that we created here. All right. And now we're adding an event listener for click. And that'll be something you'll see later. And so the style color will be red. All right. And then we have some lifecycle callbacks. If you're familiar with like a lot of frameworks, you may be familiar with different lifecycle callbacks. So when the web component is loaded onto the page, the connected callback is called. And then you can have this console log here. And then I'm setting the style color to blue. All right. And then we have, so if the attribute changes, right? Because again, we said, hey, keep an eye out for any changes to the guess attribute. We are then going to fire off this callback. And so we're going to say with attribute name that's changed, right? The name and the new value of it. And then I'm taking off any like spaces or anything like that. And then I'm, remember, we had that verdict that was in the template, verdict, that we then appended to the shadow root. So now we can query it by just saying, hey, shadow root.query select or this.shadow root.query selector. And we're just like as if it was a regular HTML element, because again, it basically is. And then we're setting the inner text to nothing. So I'm kind of like refreshing it. And now, okay, so let's do a test of this. So I don't think anybody has actually wrote anything. So groups. So you may be thinking of maybe like run DMC, right? Submit it. And then, yeah, you can see that. Okay, so yeah, it says nope, right? So it fired off that alert. Okay, run DMC, question mark. They're okay, I guess. All right, and then notice if I click this, it turned red. All right, let's go with another name. Let's go with, I don't know, Taylor Swift. I'm not sure how to spell Taylor Swift. I think this is it, right? Maybe, I don't know. All right, so we're going ahead and going to click that. Nope. And then we click OK. Taylor Swift, they're okay, I guess. And notice it still turned red, all right, because I clicked it previously, so it saved that state. And, but of course, we all know the greatest group of all time is Outcast. When I submit that, yep. And then OK, Outcast, you're right. All right. And so now that you can see comes from here. So I'm checking to see if the new value to lowercase, I'm lowercasing it. If it's equal to Outcast, then I say the H1, which is this here. I do the inner text and I say the value that was put in there, and I do it all caps to uppercase. All right. Then what I do is I take the verdict, which is what we saw before, and then the inner text of that, I have you're right, which is this right here. All right. And then I fire off a new custom event. This is the remapping that we spoke about before. So by having this value change, we're remapping it to the guest event. That is then, so the detail is yup. That's why we saw nope, and yup. And it bubbles. So it bubbles through the components. All right. So if there's other listeners, it would be able to do that as well. And then this is allowed to cross with the compose into the outer application. So that's why with the window listener, we were able to listen for that guest. If I change that from the compose to false, then you shouldn't be able to listen to it on the outside. Everything will be all handled inside. All right. Cool. Now, the other case, if you got it wrong, you can see here, I just set the H1 to the thing, but I don't uppercase it. So you can see like, I don't know, Bob. And then submit it. Nope. And you can see it's back to lowercase. It's how I did it. But I add the question mark and exclamation point. And then I set they're okay, I guess. And then we fire off another custom event guest, and then we have that all this up there. Cool. Now you notice when I clicked the text, it turned, so initially it was blue, but then when I clicked it, it was right here, that event listener, it turned the text to red. Now what I want you to see is that this, where it says Bob here, where the artist shows up, that is an H1 tag. All right. Now, if you look at the HTML, this who's the greatest group of all time is also an H1 tag. And so me clicking that button, it didn't affect the outer one. So that's part of the encapsulation as well. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Cool. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. All right, so kind of like a recap. So you have the outer application, which is the user's application, whatever it may be. And you have your custom elements. And now you put in properties or attributes into the custom element to do anything. You can listen for custom events like that guest that we had. And then there's methods that you can call from your web component that the outer application can do things with. All right, cool. So now let me know how we're doing. Go ahead, put some thumbs ups or vote in the poll. Our web component is still cool. And again, I guess this lagging thing is kind of throwing things off. All right, nice. Appreciate y'all for voting. Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. All right, at least the slides are still being in sync. All right, so now let's talk about some tools. All right, because we mentioned, I mean, that we just showed, the greatest group of all time web component. It's the layout, and it wasn't that difficult, right? It wasn't that complex. And so if you ever get into anything that could be complex, well, there's different tools. So this website was one of my favorite websites that had anything to do with web components, and it's webcomponents.dev. But then as you can see here at the top, they've shut down. So RIP webcomponents.dev. It was a great, like it says here, it was an online IDE for web components. And the fact that it was the only one kind of like hurts my heart a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And so you're able to build components, push to Git, and publish to NPM all without all the hassle. Now, it's not too much of a hassle. We're actually going to do that. But I kind of they made this all within the browser, which is super cool. And now what I want to do is, so they were a place where we were able to test all different kinds of ways of creating all these different tools to create web components. Do you want to kind of guess, without scrolling up, how many different ways, before this thing shut down, how many different ways were there of creating web components? There's a lag. I'm just going to scroll. So there's actually, so you can see all the different ones here. We're going to actually do some lit. We have the regular one, HTML element, which we just saw before. Fast, this is from the folks of Microsoft, I believe. Lit comes from Google. LWC, which is the Lightning Web Components, Salesforce, that's them. And you can see all the different ones. I've used Stencil in the past before. Stencil is very cool. But you can see there's like 64 different ways. And this website will allow you to try it out. And so you can kind of see what you like and what you don't like. Now, it's no longer here, sadly, but they do have some other pretty cool resources. So I have them linked here. And so we're going to take a look at this one. And so again, here are all the different, that's funny. I like that was a funny avatar for that one. But like, here are all the different ways of creating web components, at least by the time they were putting this stuff together. And so you see there's like HTML element based, there's the class based, there's hook based, object based, CSS and JS, compiler, all sorts of stuff. Oh, I forgot also, let me go back. Hold on, I forgot in the actual example under the JS. Remember the custom elements API? Well, that's right here. So this defines the tag with its behavior that comes from the class object. So it's saying that, hey, so this allows the browsers to understand when I come across this goat-group, I don't need to worry about it because how I need to handle it will come from this goat group which is all this stuff here that kind of defines the behavior of it. All right, I forgot to mention that before. So you can kind of see how all the different web technologies work together to create a web component. All right. Okay, so now back to here. So yeah, you can see all the different ways that they have this thing, right? Amazing. So you're able to kind of just play around with it. Now it goes to their online IDE. It doesn't really work anymore, but you can kind of see the structure of it, right? Now, let's take a look at this other one. This one, for all my all my nerdy folks who like to see all the different things kind of like behind the scenes and kind of like want to get real granular stuff. They actually, so all their web components, their examples are counters like this. So they have the same thing. So it kind of gives you the same way. Oh yeah, we made the choice of building a simple component like the counter for the sake of simplicity. So that way you don't have to worry about like what, like a lot of people understand what counters are. And so the point is to kind of show the choice is debatable, especially when it comes to comparing a bundle set of a same component. So the way they're doing is kind of like showing, like comparing and contrasting the different ways. All right, all kind of like built around this counter. So they're talking about like bundle size and performance and all these things. So if you're into that, they kind of like go through it, which is kind of cool. So they kind of show you, and they have like the size of it, and then you can open the bundle visualer, and you can do that with all these things. And then you kind of show like it's wild. Like it's there's charts and graphs and things. It's kind of amazing. So if you're into that, you can go ahead and check that out. All right. Now, this is a tool that I like. It's one of the, it allows for you to be able to, like, especially if you're on a team, you saw how all the different ways of creating web components there are, right? Now with open web components, and we're gonna take a look at the website. What they do is that they allow you to be able to kind of like scaffold a web component so that every web component is built the same way. So if you ever worked on a large team, you know how important it is for everyone to be on the same page, because one like weird function or something not named properly can throw off a whole project, right? And so by doing open web components, like it mentions, it provides the guides, tools, and libraries for developing web components. So everything you need is right there. So it has smart defaults, awesome generators we'll take a look at, and it's open source. All right, cool. So shouts to them. All right, but now also, when you want to publish, because it's cool when everything's on your laptop or in your browser and it's working fine. But what if you want somebody else to use it, or maybe you want to use it in another project? Well, that's when you can publish it. And if you ever did like npm install something, that's what npmjs.com is. All right, and so we're going to take a look at that. And so you can kind of see here all the different ones. So if you ever npm install React, it's kind of like it's a repository. Do they say what actually it is? Because I'm sure they probably say it a lot better. But it's kind of like the repository of where like different code reside, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think, I'm not sure if they actually store it. They might store it, but they can kind of like, maybe they do. I'm not exactly sure. But if you know, let me know. But it's the place if you wanted to like ever npm install a library or a package, they kind of like help with all that. All right. So now the way, like I mentioned, if you don't want to have to do an npm install, let's say you're in a coding environment that doesn't allow you to npm install things. So like, for example, if you ever use CodePen, I don't think you can npm install anything into a CodePen. So that's why there's CDNs, or content delivery networks. So these folks kind of like host the code. And so that way you're able to just put in like a URL, and then it will directly, you can direct it to the library that you want to use, and it'll pull it in for you. And so that way you don't have to like install anything. So these are all the different ones. And I was told before that Unpackage is not really been maintained. So I don't know if that was just during that time, but something to look out for. All right. And if you know of any other ones, please let me know. All right. So now let's actually build something and publish. All right. By the way, I hope you're still, I hope everyone has gotten their Vonage dev account and some credits if you haven't already. So hopefully it's worked. If not, let me know if you had any issues or anything. All right. I can't promise I can do anything, but let me know. All right, cool. So we're going to build and publish. All right, so what we're going to do is we've already seen open web components. Now, like I mentioned, they're kind of taking away the vast amount of choices that you have when creating web components. So they're like, all right, we're going to scaffold the project a certain way, and we're going to use a certain library, which they chose Lit. And I like Lit. Lit is a very minimal, and we'll take a look at their website because they explain basically what they do. So it's kind of like a rendering engine. So Lit, simple, fast web components. All right. So simple, you don't have to worry about like boilerplate stuff because it's basically like done on the actual, like the template, which is pretty cool. There's a tiny footprint. So you can say it's like 5 kilobytes, minified and compressed. So if we're excited about that web components.dev charts, then you would probably really enjoy that. Hey, it's like 5 kilobytes. And then, so it's web components. You can create web components. What I like about it is that you can actually see if you're on a team, right? And you want everybody to be kind of like on the same playing field when it comes to web development, you want to make sure everybody kind of has a good understanding of the tools that you're using. And so lit.dev they have a really good documentation, right? And so they have like, here's the documentation. And then they have this whole learn section. We can learn about different things. But what I really like is that they have this playground, which is an interactive like coding environment where you can like do stuff. So, and it just like automatically updates. So it kind of steps you through like the basics, reactive properties, and all these things. So you can actually code and work on these things and learn about it. So I think that's pretty cool. So combination of using open web components and Lit, we're going to publish something to NPM and then use that in a framework of your choosing. All right, sound good? Cool. So let me go back to open WC. I think I go back here, right? Yeah, leave. Okay, I'm just going to type it in. openwc.org. All right. So here we go. And then you can like follow the guides, right? And so this is super cool. So they have a really nice CLI tool. So we'll copy this. And here is my CLI, my terminal. And so I'm in my projects folder. We're going to just copy and paste that, and bam. Now, we need to install the following packages. So that's what helps to create it, right? And so we're going to say yes. Cool, boom, boom, boom. Now you're presented with these options here. And so we're going to scaffold a new project because you can upgrade an existing project if you like. We're going to scaffold a new project, all right? Now we're going to do a web component. You can actually create like an application that would create like different web components in that whole application, but we're just going to create a single web component now. Oh, can you see this or my bar in the, okay, hold on. How do I get rid of this bar here? Okay, we're just going to do, Mac. All right, hold on. Let me make that smaller. Here we go. All right, so now we're able to do all these different things. So if you want to have like linting, again, if you're on a team, you may want to use linting for like they use ESLint and Prettier. So if you're very serious about your tabs and spaces, you can have that running. If you want to do some testing before you push any stuff, you can run some tests. And if you want to like demo your components, they use Storybook. So you're able to pull up that whole UI and see all the different elements. It's really good for like design templates and things. You know what I'm saying? Design systems. But we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to do a simple one. So we're just going to kind of keep it moving. We're not going to use any TypeScript, but that's an option if you like. And now we're going to name the web component. So this is CodeConnect. So we're going to do code. Yeah, let's do CodeConnect. Remember, because you need a hyphen. So we'll do CodeConnect. Now, so this is a scaffold that I was mentioning before. All right, so it set everything up that you need for you. And then ask you, do you want to write this file structure to the disk? So it's going to create a folder for me. And all this goodness, all this web component goodness in there. All right, so we're going to say yes. And now we have an option of doing like, you can do yarn or npm to install dependencies. Or if you don't want to install them now, you can say no. But we're going to use npm because we were talking about npm before. All right, so yes, npm. And so now it's going to get the different dependencies to be able to scaffold and get your web component up and running. All right, so that's going to, I think it's taking a second. Or is that oh no, woo, I thought it was an error or something. It was just thinking. All right, great. Awesome. So you can see it did all this stuff here. Cool, 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 cool. Very nice. So now you're all set up now. So then we're going to CD into it. Code hyphen connect. So again, I can't type. So we'll be doing a lot of copy and pasting because if you're like me, you can't type. NPM run start. So we can kind of take a look at it. All right. Huh, that's weird. It opened up in Safari. Interesting. Okay, cool. That's cool. So now, all right, so here we go. Here's what the web component looks like. All right. Now let's take a look at the code. I'm going to, didn't mean to do that. How do I get back? Open. We're going to, can you see that? Oh, you can't see that. Okay, nice. So we're going to go to projects, CodeConnect, open this. Nice. All right, so again, very similar to what we saw before. And so each one comes with a demo. So if you want to work on it and kind of see it as you're working on it, you can do that there, which is pretty cool. We have the different node modules that were installed. And now we have the source. And you see it's just one file, right? So this is, it may look familiar. Let me close this Copilot thing. And so now here we go. So we're importing the HTML, CSS, and lit element from the lit library. Because again, they're using lit as kind of like the rendering engine, all right? And so now, so you can see here, you put your CSS in here. Oh, okay, stop, do that. So we have the CSS here. So you can see color var, you can set your color here, but it defaults to black. And then we have the different properties. So these are kind of like the observed attributes that we saw before. So when these things change, it causes a re-render, all right? So you notice that we don't have to have all that stuff before, like all the observed attributes thing and then all this other stuff. Lit kind of like abstracts that away from you. So it's a little bit easier to work with. Like I said, less boilerplate. And then we have the constructor. As with like any class, you most likely have a constructor. And then there's the super. And here are the different properties. So you can set default values for them. All right. And then we have this method. It's when it has like 2 underscores, it's meant to be like a private method. If you did TypeScript, you can literally make it private. But this here is kind of like, hey, don't really use this, on the outside. And you can see the increment function is just this dot counter and increases by 1. All right. And so we have this header, which again can be passed in. And then we have the counter. All right. And then we have this increment function that's called on the click. And then also lit gives you like different little like methods and things that you can call on stuff. So instead of having to have like a listener, you can just put the @click on there. So they have like @click, @submit, and I think on change or just change or something like that. So you can have it on the actual elements. So it's a little bit easier to read. All right. So now, as it is, so when you click it, you notice that number increases. All right. So now let's say we wanted to have a decrement one, right? So let's make it a real counter instead of just going all the ways up. So let's do decra. Oh, look at this. Thanks to Copilot. Oh, look at this. Oh, coding is, look at that. It just did it for me. That is amazing. All right, so we're going to save this. And you see it auto reloads. And so now we have decrement. It goes down. All right, very nice. Increment. All right, cool, very nice. We added some functionality. That's pretty cool. Now, if you want to see how it looks in the HTML, well, what we can do is look here. So now we have this header. So we're setting the header on the outside. So we can actually, the way they do it here is that they're actually kind of like inserting, using JavaScript to insert into this demo element here. All right. So either you could do either way. Like you could actually put it in here and it'd probably do the same thing. So we'll take a look at that. But that's the way they chose to do it. All right. And then you can notice, so let me see. So what you could do, let me see. I'm going to try something. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we technically could do the same script. Let's see if whatchamacallit will come to my aid. Script. Again, I cannot type. All right, here goes script. Now we don't want this one, right? What we want is the actual, that CodeConnect code here. because again, this is what helps us. Oh, there you go. Nice. This is what helps the browser understand what's actually happening. So now, technically, I should be able to get rid of this. And then instead of having this demo, I can put in the code. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at that. And then we have some light DOM stuff there, and then we're going to that off. All right, cool. So now if I save this, so it's still loaded, and it still works. So there's all sorts of different ways you can make this thing work. So kind of amazing. And I just did it off the fly. I was not planning on doing that, but it worked. That's awesome. And if you're wondering, this CodeConnect here, this file here, this is where the whole custom elements define thing happens. So they kind of like abstracted it out. All right. So there's that. So you're pulling it from the file that we just saw, this one here, where all the behaviors and things are happening. And then we're tying it to that code-connect element. All right, cool. So we got a web component. Awesome. Now, let me see something here. Cool. All right, great. So now let's publish it, shall we? Because it's cool that it's here on the browser and everything. That's fine and all well and good. But let's say we want to share it to the world. You know what I'm saying? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to stop this. Now, I'm not sure if folks have if you have your login to NPM, if you've ever logged in, but you're going to need it to be able to publish things. So I'm going to make sure I'm not on the Vonage one because I do not want to just put any random web component in the Vonage directory. So NPM, who am I? All right. So I'm signed in under my personal, work Vonage account. All right. So what we're going to do is, we're still doing the buffering. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I don't see you in the list there, Abhishek. So maybe you're just coming along. If you go and check out myworkshops.live, I'll put the link here again. Right. If you go there and use this password, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to even hear me because of the buffering and stuff. Use that as the password when you log in. You hit enter, you put in your username, and then I'm using audio over there. So hopefully by having it being audio and not video, hopefully you won't have an issue buffering. Okay? Hopefully. I'm not sure what's happening. All right, cool. So now that we have this here, right? I showed it before. So this is the command to publish. But before we do that, right, I want to show you in the package JSON, this is what NPM reads to kind of say all right, this is what this thing does. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is the name, I'm going to change that. I'm going to scope it, as they call it. So when somebody wants to NPM install, they'll have to put this way. It kind of helps with making sure that you're getting the package that you want. And it's not just a random code-connect that who knows, there might be one already. So by doing this, it helps kind of like I said, scope the project. So that way, if you want my CodeConnect, you can do that with by going to the Dwane-Vonage/CodeConnect to install it. All right, so we got that. And then we made some changes. So let's do this as 0.0.1. All right, cool. We're going to save that. Nice. And now what we're going to do is going to do npm publish. And then I want the access to be public. All right, cool. I'm going to do that. Now, hopefully this works. All right, cool. And it's doing, bam, we've been published. Yay. All right. So now, and it's been set to public access. So I can technically go to npm.js. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go off of this. And the package should be under, like we said before, Dwane-Vonage. And then we called it code-connect. Oh, again, I cannot type. All right. And here we are. And it just published a few seconds ago. And it shows you, hey, npm I installed to do that. Right. So, and like use it. So it gives you all this cool stuff. All right. Nice. Now, with that being said, what framework should we put our newly published web component into? By the way, I'm going to look up the JS deliver for it. So while you're voting, well, okay, what was it? I use JS deliver mostly for my stuff. Okay, yeah, we have this here. All right, so now I can never remember the thing off the top of my head. So we called it CodeConnect. Why is that anyway? No problem. Hopefully it helps. So we're gonna do connect. By the way, I hope you're voting. So go ahead and vote so we can figure out which framework you'd like to use. And again, there's probably like a delay or something. I know some people have some buffering issues, so hopefully you can hear me. Ooh, we got one that I did not think about. Okay, very nice. All right, so we're gonna go to Dwane Vonage. So now if I go here, so this is basically the code that has been like transpiled and everything there. So what we saw before in that CodeConnect.js, this has been minified and all that goodness from lit. This is what lit does. All right. Cannot read a word of it, but this is what the browser is going to understand. Oh, okay. You know, y'all are very surprising me. This is cool because I just thought people would just go. I thought React would be just like blowing out the water, but y'all have like, I like that. Very nice. All right. So, okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit more. So keep voting because we need a tiebreaker. All right. So while we're doing that, we'll take a look at the Vonage docs because I'm kind of proud of this because I put it in there and I wanted to share it with y'all. So I created, so like I said, we do a bunch of web components here at Vonage, and I created like a section of our docs so you can kind of show. It's for like the basic, like the video web components, but you can use it for any web components, as you'll be able to see when we do this here. So waiting for tiebreaker. So you can see we have Angular, Astro, React, Svelte, we got Vanilla JS, we got Vue. And then if there's any more that ever come up, you know what I'm saying, we'll add those as well. Because again, web components are like, they're a web technology. And so if any frameworks are used to build on the web, then web components should work. All right. Wait on a tiebreaker. But yeah, so you'll be able to kind of see. I mean, we might have time to do two of them because it's not too bad. We'll take a look. All right. So, okay, what we'll do is, again, sorry for the lags and all the lagging stream and everything, but what we'll do is we'll go ahead. Let's do Angular, right? And so, so now I'm going to use a website that I'm a big fan of, StackBlitz. Did they have? Yeah, they just have an Angular one. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. If you're not familiar with StackBlitz, StackBlitz is pretty awesome. You can like log in with your GitHub. So now see, so you have all these different starter projects that you can use. And that's what we're going to do. So let's go with Angular. And, you know, while that's spinning up, might as well do a Vue one as well, right? So because the project we're going to be building later on, it's basically like uncommented code, and you can kind of like, we'll walk through it. But so yeah, so let's do this. Again, I was not planning on doing this, but hey, this is cool. All right, yeah, because we're still at a tie. And now I've always been told like, hey, Vue is the way to go, and that's what everybody's doing. I mean, not Vue, React, and but hey, our little test group here shows that there's other frameworks that people use. And sometimes being on the web, all you think is just, oh, this is one framework that everybody uses. But as we can see here, and that's why I push web components so much, especially for like some of our products, because it's not just React. You know what I'm saying? There's developers who develop in other frameworks or without frameworks. And I want to make sure that Vonage is there for where developers are. You know what I'm saying? And so, all right, cool. So we have this, all right, cool. So we got the Angular. Okay, very nice. So we got Angular and we got Vite. All right. So now let's just go through. We got Vue. All right. So now we're going to need to import this here. in the component. So yes. So in the which one is this again? Okay. Yes, we're going to include this. Include component. It's been a while since I've done like Angular. So where are we? Main. Yeah, so here in the component. So yeah, so component right there. What was it that I copied? Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, cool. I just need to do this. Nice. Cool. And what the cool thing is that I'm able to help Angular developers without having to know too much Angular because it's web components. And it's just, I'm hoping if you chose Angular, you know how to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I like the step-by-step guide. So it'll help you a little bit easier to be able to implement the web components in your applications. And then there's the schema thing I need to add in the add component. Here we go. Cool. We're going to go, that goes into here. If I remember correctly. Wait, why? Does that go in there? Pretty sure that goes in there. Okay, we're back. All right, awesome. Cool. All right, so now we don't need to do all that stuff. Just installing. All right, so now we're just going to place the web component. All right, so the web component that we had, we're going to put that in this template here. So by doing this custom element schema, that lets Angular know to like, don't worry about what we're putting in there. The browser will be able to handle that. So it was called CodeConnect. We're going to end that off. All right, cool. There we go. Nice. All right. So now the thing is, it's not showing up because the browser's like, I don't know what to do with this, right? And so now in our index.html, I'm going to do the same script tag. Ooh, I'm missing Copilot right now. Type equals module source this. All right. Do that there. And now I'm going to go to the oh, I can't. Oh, you can't do self-closing that? Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks, Angular. All right. And so now I'm going to copy this. Going to paste that into here. And save. Bam. There's our web component. And so now, again, you can do all the, oh, hello. It just, oh, I put it in the A tag, didn't I? I did put it in an A tag. That is my bad. I was like, why did it go to another page? That was totally my error. Right there, we're going to put this after here. And there you go. There's our web component in an Angular app. Awesome. Let me get some thumbs ups if you thought that was cool. All right. Now let's go ahead and get the what you call it, the view going. Why do I keep saying view? Well, made by the same people. All right. So now for view, you can check out right here. Now this one we need to set this here, and this goes into the vconfig.js file. vconfig.js file. And now, hold on, wait a minute. It's what is it? There's some stuff. All right, plugins, view. All right. I'm sorry if this is like flashing. Okay, here we go. I just need to put this into here, it looks like. So now what this does, it lets, again, you have to let some frameworks know that, hey, if you see like a weird tag that you're not familiar with, don't do anything with it. We'll just, like you were saying here, it's a custom element. And then the browser will know what to do with it. All right. So let me copy and paste that into here. Okay. Nice. Now we're going to do the same thing. We need to get the actual tag. I don't want to type it again because I'm terrible at typing. So we're going to get this, put that into here, into the head tag. Cool. And now we should be able to just put in, well, they have a template thing, don't they? Let me see something. Under source, there's this app.view. So if we want to do it that way, you can always put it here. Hello world, sure. So we're going to put it here, code-connect slash code-connect. All right, save that. Does this refresh? Let me refresh it. And there we are. There's our web component. Now, I forgot to show, but you can pass in, it was called header, right? H-E-D-E-R, header, hi. And there we go. So within like 10 minutes, we've got Angular and Vue with our web component. And again, I don't know a lot. I've used Vue and Angular back in the day, but I use other frameworks if I'm building stuff. But me not knowing, like doing this every day, I was able to add this web component to it. So awesome. All right, cool. So then that's that. Nice. And again, you can check out all the different frameworks that we have here. All right, cool. All right, so let's go next one. Oh, I wanted to show, so does this go to the? So yeah, so I wanted to show this, another website that I like very much. So custom elements everywhere. Now you saw that we're able to use Angular and Vue, no problem, right? Because custom elements everywhere kind of like catalogs the compatibility of different frameworks with different, like using web components, right? The compatibility of web components. So I'm going to go here. So here it is, making sure frameworks and custom elements can be BFFs, all right? And so now, so React wasn't always 100%. It wasn't until like React 19 where they have full support for web components. So that's good to see. Then we have Vue. Then we have Angular. I think Angular's at like 20 something right now. So I'm not sure how up to date, but Angular's been pretty good for a very long time. And then we have Svelte. Even Angular JS is 94% compatible, and they don't even like support that anymore. So if you have some really legacy code bases and you kind of like want to upgrade it eventually, well, without having to do a full rewrite, web components could be a good way of making that happen. You know what I'm saying? So you can change out things as you need them while still adding. And so we have Preact, Polymer, all this other stuff. All right, cool. So that's a very cool resource. All right, let's keep it moving. And again, you can kind of see React now with 100%, and Vue for a while has been 100%. All right, so now our web components becoming more awesome. Let me know. I'm probably gonna have to like skip through a bunch of this. Time is flying by pretty quickly. I'm having a good time. Y'all having a good time? And again, I'm sorry about the lag. There's literally nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. I'm going to, oh, okay, cool. Got it. Nice. All right. All right. Did that get some more people joining in here? Okay, nice. We got some people joining. Very nice. Cool. All right. So yeah, we're gonna keep it moving. Stop. All right. So now let's talk about styling. All right, because the web component I created, I mean, it could use some style, right? It's just using the base styling for those elements. Now, there's a couple of ways of styling web components. All right. There's the CSS custom properties, or like CSS variables, they call them as well. And then part. Part is kind of amazing. I don't know if you ever used part before, but part is awesome. All right, so now look at some examples. So for CSS custom properties, let's say you have a button. All right, I have a link to MDN if you want to check out more about CSS custom properties. So what you'll have is, so we have this background color that we want to set, right? But we want it to be able to be customized from the users of our web components. So we have a button in our web component, and we want people to be able to set the background color for it, all right? And so now by default, it's going to be red, but then we give a variable name that can then be used on the outside of the application. So in the CSS file that's outside in the outer application, you'll be able to set the root, and then you can set the different variable names. So that same my element -button -color, that's here as well. When you, in the button in the web component, you can say, I want it to be blue. So then that will then change the button background color that's in your web component to blue. If you don't set it, it'll be red. So that's a good way of having like default styles if you want to have that. All right. Now the thing is though, let's say we wanted to do a font color, right? So then it would have to be like my element hyphen font hyphen color, and then you have to set that here. Well, let's say we wanted to change the radius of the button itself. Well, then you'd have to do, what is it? Button, what was it? Radius, something radius. I don't know, it's been a minute. But you need a whole nother variable for that one, right? Let's say if you wanted to, what else can you do with buttons as far as styling? Size. Let's say you want to set the width or whatever. You would need another variable. So you can see you'd have a very long list if you want to be able to give the user of your web component like ultimate customization, right? Now, with that, they've come up with parts. And so here's an MDN and a blog post talking about it. And so now, instead of having to do all of that, what you can do is, so let's say your web component is called custom elements, all right? So this is how you, in your CSS, how you would target it, all right? And then you, inside your custom elements, you have a button, and you say that part is called button. You can call it Bob if you want. Me, I tend to call it what it actually is. As long as you say colon, colon, part, and then the name. So button, Bob, whatever you want, as long as it's the same. And then you can put in whatever, border hyphen radius. That's what I was remembering. Then you can put in whatever CSS you want to put in there that normally goes with like a button, and it will apply it to it. So you don't need separate variables for all these things here. You can just put it all in one thing as if it's like just a regular styling of an element, because it is just a regular styling of an element. Just so happens to be a web component, and one that you create, which is amazing, right? All right, cool. So that is that. So now let's build up again. Let's look at what we signed up for, all right? Okay, let's shake it out. Hopefully there's enough time for y'all to sign up for your Vonage developer account and get those credits, because this is where we're going to be using it. All right, so now for our application, if you weren't familiar, we're basically going to build like your own personal live streaming platform. All right, you can call it like a Twitch clone, like your own like mini Twitch. You know what I'm saying? And so, thing is, so we need to get credentials, and credentials come from the server. All right, and in order to have that server running, you need an application. Now, if you don't have an application, I have a link to the Node.js learning server, which is what we're going to use. So open that. Copy this link. And if you do have one, so if you don't have one, where you copy this link, it goes to a GitHub repo. By the way, if you want to go to that GitHub repo and star it, that'd be great and very much appreciated. You know what I'm saying? If you want to star that'd be great. All right. So now we have this open GitHub code spaces. All right. So I'm going to open that and get that running. All right. So now what you want to do is so we have this here. And so, if you're not familiar, code spaces on GitHub, it's kind of like, it's a VS Code in the browser, and it allows you to code in the browser. So we don't have to worry about if you have certain versions of whatever libraries are on your local machine. Everybody starts off with a clean slate in the browser. All right. And so now I already have this set up, but should I set one up? I'm going to set it up. I won't run it though. So I'm going to have create this code space. So while that's running, if you already have an application that you can use, a video application, it has to be a video application, it has to have video as a part of it, you're then able to use our playground, because what we need are the application ID, session ID, and the token. You need a token. And so you'll be able to get all that from here. So if you have one, you'll be able to do that, get the application, and you can like create a session here, and then you're able to connect. And then it'll give you, the application ID, session ID, and the token, like I said before. All right. But if you don't have one, I set it up to where you're able to kind of create your own like learning server, node server, And so that's spinning up. Now I already have one running, so I'm going to use that. Code spaces. And so you can see here, this one is being spun up right now, but I already have one here. And so I'm going to open that. What I want to show you is how to kind of like set it up, because I created a setup script that'll kind of like help you navigate it. So while that's still setting up, let's go to dashboard.vonage.com. Should be logged in already. Awesome. Now, to set this up, you're going to need your API key and secret. All right. And so if you go to the dashboard, you go to the API secret management. And now then take you to here where you can go ahead and get your API key. And when you signed up, it should have gave you a secret. If you don't remember what it was, you can always create one. All right, because you only get 2, by the way. So try to remember it. Or you can just, delete it and rotate your keys and stuff or what have you. Cool. Let's see here. Okay. So this is the one that I created before. So it already went through the setup and everything. Cool. But this one here. So now see, it's asking for my API key. All right. And so I'm going to get that from my dashboard here. Let me move this over. Dashboard. All right. So we have that here. So this is a setup script that I ran. So you'd go and put your thing here. Allow. And then you'd put in your secret. I'm not going to show you the secret because it's secret. But you put in your secret there. You put in your title that you want, and it'll spin it up for you. All right. And so we'll get to this point here. And so this is our node learning server, and it's used to be able to get all the different credentials that we need to be able to run this application. All right. Cool. So now this is running. Great. Now, so this is the back end that we need, right? So we need a front end. So let's go here. And so now, like I mentioned, we have our video web components. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to paste that into this one, which I'm not using now. And always remember to shut down your code spaces, because I've been caught sometimes. They'll shut down after a while, but just to clean up everything. So I'm going to go and stop this code space. All right. So now this is the set of web components that I created to use with the Vonage Video API. All right. And again, if you could give that a star, that'd be great. I'm saying? Very much appreciated. Appreciate you. And now, so here are all the different web components that I've created. All right. So we got the publisher, subscribers. We'll go through all this stuff. Subscriber, screen share. You can screen share. You can select your inputs. We have a whiteboard. That one took a while to put together. We have live chat, live poll, and live poll control for your host or what have you. Cool. Now, we also have a starter project. Copy link address. And so now we have that one again. Don't forget, start it up for me. You know what I'm saying? Let's run those numbers up. I'm going to create a new tab. All right. So now we have this one here. And again, if you'd like to star it, that'd be much appreciated. Cool. So now here is a base streaming platform, live streaming platform. All right. And it's very, very bare bones. Okay. Because I want to focus on the web components and things, a part of it. So you'll be able to drop it into your fancy application. So I don't want you have to like parse. Oh, wait, what part was the application part? What is bare bones and it's vanilla, everything. And you'll be able to kind of just like get it up and running. All right. So we mentioned Stack Blitz before. I'm a big fan of Stack Blitz. And so let's open it up in there. And so now there's like a dependency so that you can get it running as like a server. Other than that, it's very bare bones. And so there's 2 parts. There's the host and the viewer. All right. Now the host is the person doing the live stream, and the viewer is the person watching the live stream. All right. And so you can see the different web components that we use within the different parts. All right. Cool. So here we go. And so here it is running. I'm going to click this to open a new tab. We're going to connect to the project, and here we go. All right. Let me close some of this other stuff we don't need anymore. Because again, I'm guilty of having way too many tabs. Okay. I'm still kind of like impressed with myself that I was able to create a web component, publish it, and then put it in Angular and Vue in like 15 minutes. Kind of amazing. Technology. All right, so here we are. Now, what we want to do is, so let's take a look at the host HTML. Well, no, wait. Let's take a look at the page itself before we look at the code. So I have, so these are the web components, and these link to the specific parts in the repo. So if you want to check them out specifically, you know what I'm saying? Check them out. So I'm going to open up the host. This is what the host page will look like. So your video is the publisher, show up there. Any other subscribers will show up there, like if you have guests or anything. We have a chat, and then we have a poll. And then you're able to toggle your audio and video to the stream. All right, so that is the host. That's what the host looks like. Now the viewer will look like this, where it's the subscribers. So it's all the viewer doesn't like publish. So all they're doing is subscribing. They're just viewing everything. So we have a subscribers here, and then the way you communicate, we have a chat, and we also have a poll. All right, cool. Now, so let's work on the actual host now. So the way I have this set up, I have everything in just HTML files, and I combined everything into a script file. This one. Let me just open them all up together. So we can just. So I have everything. Now you may want to split them up for the different pages, but just so it's a little bit easier and not having too many files and having to go back and forth, I kind of want to just consolidate everything. All right. So now if we're looking at the host, all right. So now what we want to do is, so I'm referencing the styles there. So let's bring in the publisher so we can see our video. All right. So now so now that the browser can understand our video-publisher element, we need a little bit of JavaScript to let it know, all right, don't worry about this element you're not familiar with. This JavaScript will tell you what you need to do as far as like rendering and stuff and any sort of stuff like that. So there's that. Now we have the JavaScript. Let's get the actual element now. So that's here. Uncomment that. Save that. Now when we go to, there's no reload apparently. So when we refresh that. Oh, that's right. It's not going to work because it's just an element. In order to actually interface with Vonage, like I mentioned, you need the credentials. You need the application ID, session ID, and a token to be able to join it. All right. So session is kind of like the room, and the token is like your pass into the room. All right. So I totally forgot. So we were loading the Vonage client video SDK. All right. Now in the script, we're going to pass in that server that we just get. Now, if you're using the playground, you put in your application ID, session ID, and token here. But I spun up on that code spaces. I spun up a node learning server. So I'm going to put that into here. So I'm going to take the URL, which I can get from here. All right. Now it's important, do not have the trailing slash. All right. So when you put it into here, make sure there's no trailing slash. That will break stuff. All right. So just the URL. And we're going to save that. Now I'm able to get here. So now that I have that saved, I'm able to make the call to be able to get the credentials that I need. All right. So now when I refresh this, all right, can you see this? Oh, you can't see it. So it's asking me, since it's the first time I'm interacting with this, to allow my microphone and the camera. And so we're going to allow it. And eventually, I think I'm doing too many. I think I'm streaming too much. I think I'm having issues. I have too many things happening at once here. Oh, no, this should work. Hold on. Give me a second here. Oh, I'm so silly. Okay, so now that we have the web component, we have the credentials, we need to pass those things into the web component so it knows, oh, hey, there's this session I can publish into. So yeah, it's been a long day. All right, so now, all right, so I have this thing here. So we're initializing the session. So now if there's a published element that's on the page, then we're going to, well, I am setting it. Do I have the script here? Wait a second. Yeah, script. Publisher. Did I save this one? So let me see something here. Okay. Oh, okay. It is there, but it's not showing up because the styling. There's CSS involved. So I have that here. Yeah. So it was showing. It just because it wasn't. It's not a block. It's like inline or something like that, and so it doesn't show up. Or I think it might be like. So there. Now that should show up. Refresh this, and here we go. So yeah, I forgot to do. So things to remember: put in the HTML, use some JavaScript to put in the credentials that you need, and then styling. All right, cool. So that's that. So we got that working. Very nice. Now let's get the subscribers showing up. All right. So now in our HTML, we want to uncomment the subscribers. All right. I'm going to save that. You know what? Let's go. Let's just undo everything else here. We went through the one. We're going to go through all of them now. All right. We're just going to load them all now, all in one place. So we're doing the subscribers, video subscribers, screen share, the live chat, and the poll control, being able to control the polls that you have for people voting. All right, save that. Now we want to, now that we have the JavaScript so that the browser can understand it, let's get the HTML elements, and then subscribers. And then this one. So I'm just uncommenting all these. Cool. And now in the scripts file, I think, oh no, I didn't. Okay, I didn't bother to comment those tags out. But as you can see here, you can call, like I mentioned, you could call methods. So audio click, the toggle, the toggle, the audio and the video, the audio for this one. There's a toggle audio method that will turn on and off. It will mute and unmute the audio, and the same thing for the video. All right, and so you can see here, I'm just setting the session and the token on these, and that's all you need to do because the element, because of the shadow DOM, it knows everything that it needs to do to be able to work in the Vonage video APIs. So all that gross that Paul Lewis was speaking about before, you don't have to worry about it. You can keep your code clean, right? As clean as possible. And so then we have all this other stuff here. And I'm just setting this sessions and tokens, all right? So now, if I refresh this, we have our screen share. We have, well, there's no other subscribers, but we have a text chat here. Hello. Right? And then I'm using some JavaScript to set the name of host or whatever, right? And then we can create a poll. We'll look at that. All right. So now, if you want to share a screen, you can do that. You can see that, right? So all I have is just the element. I don't need to do all this other stuff. It does it for me, which is kind of awesome. And so let's say I want to share that code there, right? And now I'm sharing it, and you have a nice little preview of what you're sharing. All right. Cool. Now, so let's go ahead. Let's work on the viewer now. So we have this running. Cool. Let's roll with the viewer. So let's go to the viewer HTML. Now this has its own set of web components. So we're just going to uncomment those because it's basically the same thing. You need a little bit of JavaScript. Oops. Yeah, Command Z. You just need a little bit of JavaScript. The HTML tag, and then pass in any sort of like credentials or any properties or attributes that you need. All right, cool. And so I'm going to get this here, the live poll. All right, save that. Now, when we go to the viewer page, let me just open it from here. Let me close this. So now you can see here, I'm hearing my, sorry, maybe myself here. Oh, you know, I have this thing to mute. I can mute this. Toggle audio. Now I don't hear myself. That's so cool. All right, so now here we are. So we have, so what's cool is you see how the screen share, which you want most likely to be bigger, is bigger than the video. All right, now that is just done by CSS. I'm using CSS grid. So you can see that here. So I'm splitting it up because I'm using the subscriber. So we have video subscribers, which is everybody. And then we have video subscriber, which is the individual streams. And so what I am doing in the script tag here is that if you can see, so here I split it up. So there's camera and screen, right? And so when a stream is created, I can see the type, video type. So it's either camera or screen or custom. And so I'm just concerned with camera and screen. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating that video subscriber. So I'm creating the web component. And then I'm setting the ID of it. And I'm setting the width and height of it. And then inside, and I'm setting, and I'm setting the session and the stream because that's what's needed for it, for that element. And then I'm checking to see if it's camera, then add it to the video subscriber under the the camera in the container, and then the screen, if it's a screen. And then just in CSS, I'm like, hey, for the camera, I'm using a grid here. And then for the screen, I'm setting the width to 100 of it. And so that makes it bigger, basically. And so that's why I'm able to designate if I want to have the screen share, this one here. So you can see that's why that one's bigger. And then if I turn off the screen share, and then it's just myself here. All right, so now let's say I want to chat with somebody. Say, hi. And so you see the chat be added there. Come here, it's right there. Cool. And now let's say we want to do a poll, right? Now you notice we don't see, oh, we do see the poll. Now you may not want the poll to show up, right? And so what we can do is just use a little bit of CSS to go and hide that initially. So I'm going to go ahead and uncomment all these other things. You can take a look at the different CSS stuff. It's kind of amazing. Cool. And then this one here, again, with the button, I'm just kind of changing the style of the button. So you can see it changed there. All right, cool. Now, I got to toggle the audio again. Okay. Oh, then also you can toggle the video like you see there. So, all right. And then that will show up under the viewer. All right. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to comment all these things here because we're going to take a look at the poll. Now, you know, stop. Oh, is that one? So now here's the styling for the poll, right? The actual thing that's on the viewer page that they'll be able to vote with. And you see, I wanted each option to have alternating colors. And so I have not found a way using CSS parts to be able to set that. I'm not sure how to do it. So I just used CSS variables to do that. All right. So we got that there. And then we have the poll control itself. Oh, come here. All right. And then we have the live chat. I have a lot of styling on that one there. All right. Cool. Now, take a look at how it looked before. All right. So this is the viewer page before. And then here's the host page before. All right. Now I'm going to refresh so that the styles can be applied. Not bad. Right. Toggle the audio. And then, so you can see, kind of changed it. So hello. You see how now that looks different? Because before it was just kind of like that, the chat. Now let's refresh this. All right. Again, so now we're showing up here, and then you can see, so the poll is no longer there, right? And hello back. There you go. Very nice. All right, cool. All right, so there's a bunch of different things you can do to style and make it your own. I want to kind of show the poll working now. All right, so let's say okay. Let's our web components. Again, I'm terrible at typing. Awesome. And then option, you have yes. And then no. All right, you notice that there's alternating colors. And so you can see it maybe a little better, maybe. All right. Now that we have that going, still, is not showing up here. It doesn't show up there until you start the poll. And then you can see the poll here. All right. And again, with the alternating colors. And then you can vote. Of course, web components are awesome. And again, I can't type. Okay. So yeah. So since I can't type, you can actually edit. So let me stop the poll. I'm going to edit it. Awesome. And then start the poll again. And you can see it updated. It fixed itself. All right. And so, of course, web components are awesome. We're going to vote. See it real time. And you see it right there. And you can also remove the options and you can also update them. So yeah, that's that. Okay. I'm going to, we're a little bit over, but we're here. Y'all still with me? Let me know what y'all thinking. Because what I would like to do now, I'm kind of lonely right now. You know what I'm saying? I would like to have a co-host come with me. So I'm thinking about just doing this now. So what we can do is, so we want basically the same thing that the host has, but we don't want to have the screen share. I only want the host to be able to screen share. All right. So what I'm going to do is, so since it's basically the same, I can't copy. Okay, never mind. So I'm just going to create another thing and call it guest.html. All right. Now, again, I want to have the same things as the host. So I'm going to copy this. Kind of want to show you, like I mentioned before, the reusability of this. All right. And so copy this. We have the guest HTML here. Cool. Now, the thing is, I do not want to have this screen share, so I can just remove that here. And then remove it from here. Save that. Now, it's called guest, right? So I'm going to copy this and open up in a new tab. And we're going to call that one guest. Cool. Here we go. And now I have my friend along with me. Let me toggle because I'm hearing myself again. All right. So there we go. Here we are. And I have the thing turned off so you can't see it. So yeah. And then, you know, that is your personal live streaming platform. And you can use it in whatever you want, basically. So let me get some thumbs ups if you're still around. So there's that. Cool. And then we're going to finish it off. Here is a nice little, if you want to get some coupon codes, like some credits and things. If you click that show me code, it'll show you, if you use euros, it'll show you the code for euros. And if you're using dollars, it'll show you the code for the dollars. So feel free to use those and build something cool. Let me know what you think. And then I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to show you where to put it in your dashboard. And bam. So it's under like billing, coupons, and you put in the code there. And you'll get all sorts of, I'm not rich. This is like a group account. So don't think I'm rich. This is just our DevRel account. All right. And I think that's pretty much everything. So I want to say thanks. So let me know how it was. I have a LinkedIn post. So if you want to connect on LinkedIn, you know, let me know what you think. It's like a post I put there. So let me know what you think. Also, if you're on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, I have a post there. Just, you know, let me know how it went for you. And I appreciate you all. And we have this event feedback form. All right. So now, I appreciate that, Paul. Hey, you know what? Let me know if you're on LinkedIn or Twitter. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? We can connect or whatever the people say on LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think and if you build anything cool. And now this event feedback form. Oh, you know what? I don't have to paste it because it is, well, I'll paste it also. But here we go. So here are the codes. I can't copy that. So these are the codes here. All right. Let me see. So if you're using the euro, it's this one. All right. So if you're using the euro, it's that one. Again, I can't type, so I can't confirm that that's accurate. And then 25 CTBBUS. Yes. And then that's if you're using you know, dollars, American dollars. All right. Cool. So now, if you, oh, I will put the link for you. I will put that here for you. All you have to, all you have to ask. I appreciate you for asking, Paul. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate Ida for putting in there much quicker than me. All right. So now, if you do that, oh, by the way, you can join our developer Slack. So if you have any questions, I'm in there all the time. So if you have any questions about anything JavaScript related, I'm probably the one that's going to be helping you out with it. So check out our community Slack. I will put the link for that also in here directly. It is vonage.dev/Slack. Let me fact check that real quick. No fake news here. Hold on. Let me double check this. It's here. Yes, that takes you to our Slack channel, our community Slack. So I'm going to post that here so you can check that out as well. Feel free to join us. Now, when you're filling out the form, you're not only providing valuable feedback to us, but you're also going to be in the running for, why didn't that work? So some very cool Lego stuff, swag. You know what I'm saying? And here it says it's priced at $60 USD. So you know it's fancy. And what it looks like, from what I understand, is, again, I copied that there. And it's also on the slides. So if you want to check out the slides later. And then this is what it is. It's like a little donut shop, which is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? It got a little register and stuff there. He's like having a little time, and got a display there with the very angular donuts. I guess you can only do so much with Legos. And yeah, so you get get an opportunity to win that, and that's pretty cool, I think, there. So yeah, any questions or anything? Anybody have any questions? I'm going to post again a link. So if you came in late and you weren't able to participate, I'm going to post a link to my website where I have all my slides for this workshop, and you'll be able to like play with all the different things that we showed earlier. Workshops.live. Yes, in my workshops.live. Yes. And then also the password to log in and stuff. All right. I think that's it. If we would have started like at the top of the hour, I mean, we would have been right on time, but we gave folks like 15 minutes. So, but I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Yeah, feel free, hit me up on LinkedIn and Twitter and stuff if you have any questions. And I appreciate y'all for hanging out and for everybody that was around. Okay, I think that's it. So have a great day. I guess that's it, right? We're good. Thank you all very much for hanging out, and I will see you around maybe. And yeah, definitely hit us up in the developer Slack channel and our community Slack channel, and or on these social media things here. I never know how to like end these things properly, but all I can say is thank you. I appreciate y'all, and web components are awesome. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go and take a nap. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day. I'm going to keep waving and then figure out how to stop this. Is this a stop button? Yeah. Okay. Stop recording. I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to stop the broadcasting. That sounds like a plan. All right. See y'all later. Thanks again for hanging out.